Talk Live.
Welcome to, I believe, episode number 23 of the Free Talk Cast, where we talk about current events and issues from a perspective of peace, love, and liberty. With you today, of course, it's Aria.
And Nikki.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Nathan. Nathan is our latest Patreon because we are over on Patreon. You can find it at patreon.com/LRNFM, or you can find links to it probably in the description of this video or on our podcast page, which you can find at freetalkcast.com. It's all over the place. Or, again, patreon.com/LRNFM. Nathan signed up today. So thank you so much for that, Nathan. Nathan is a silver level member, which is $5 per month. I think $3 is the lowest tier. I don't remember off the top of my head because I set this up like pretty much right after I got out of prison.
Oh, well.
So I had a lot going on then. But I want to say thank you for that, Nathan. And we do give a weekly shout out to one of our patrons. We had actually gone through all of our patrons, so we had none current to give a shout out to at the moment.
Well, welcome, Nathan.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Worked out really well. Oh, I don't have the cam switcher on, so it's just highlighting Nikki. I am really good and really professional, as you noticed. Okay, so I stopped it briefly because I got sick of waiting on my computer to catch up. To be fair, my computer is currently doing a lot of work for me. It is recording this video and this audio, and it's simultaneously mining Ravencoin. And that's really a lot for a desktop computer to be doing when it's not really set up to be mining Ravencoin. Like, it's set up to be, this production studio for us to do this video and podcasts and stuff. But adding all of that other workload onto it, I'm not terribly surprised in hindsight that took a little while to come up. Anyway, so in the news this week, in addition to Bitcoin breaking that $100,000 mark, now this is weird to me because I saw it break $100,000 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but a lot of other people didn't. So I'm wondering, where did you see that?
It was on crypto.com.
Okay, so that's a very common source that I'm assuming.
I was under the impression that it had already, hit $100,000 because I saw it with now it only briefly touched it was like $100,300, something like that, very low. And then, of course, it did fall back down to the 96,000 range, something like that. I don't remember exactly the trajectory that has played out since the election a month ago. It's been wild.
Yeah, it's strange that wouldn't be the official breaking of $100,000.
Well, this time it seems that a lot of exchanges saw its price go over $100,000, and I think it's currently under 100,000, but it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't. Big things happening in the crypto world, and I'm still playing catch up from the last 3 years of not being able to interact with cryptocurrency at all. So much has happened. Like, there are now these programs that allow you to sort of deposit crypto as an investment, and they get some yield back from that. Usually with shockingly high rates of return. And Ian and I talked about this briefly on Free Talk Live while we were under pre-trial supervised release, but we couldn't explore it. We couldn't do anything with it. And now I can look into these things, and a lot has changed in the crypto world in the last 3 years. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to continue changing when Donald Trump, who yesterday took credit for Bitcoin reaching $100,000.
Okay.
And
I mean, maybe like indirectly somehow the election, because it was interesting timing that it happened like right around the election. It just skyrocketed. So I actually don't understand the back end of that, like why that happened. Were more people buying crypto because Donald Trump got elected? That doesn't really make sense to me.
It partially was that because we expect, like, the current the current head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, is notoriously hostile to cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And he has sworn to step down the day that Trump is sworn into office.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So that must have been it.
So Trump is...
So it's not Trump, it's this other guy. Well,
it's
kind of
partially
both.
Trump because Trump was going to replace him with someone who is friendly to cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So we do have that going for us. It's going to be a much friendlier environment for cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency projects under the Trump administration than it has been under the Obama administration. So I'm expecting good things for the next few years because crypto, it's been heavily attacked by the government for the last several years. I mean, it was the Biden administration
yeah.
and their anti-crypto policies that put me in federal prison for distributing Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
which isn't illegal, but
it's not. But it is. If I don't want to get into it again because I could spend a whole episode going into
We've already
that.
done this. Okay, watch those other episodes.
Yeah, but that was largely a result of the Biden administration
Absolutely.
and the change in attitude toward cryptocurrency. But now that attitude is changing drastically and wildly, and I expect good things for the crypto world in the future. Shiba Inu, I think, believe it or not, is a cryptocurrency to watch. It's meant to be a sort of competitor to Dogecoin, but
Is it a shit coin?
It is.
Okay.
There's hundreds of trillions of these things out there in circulation. But the current head of development or the project manager, whatever the hell he is, he wants to change that. He wants to make Shiba Inu actually viable as a cryptocurrency. And one of the things they're doing is they're burning a lot of the Shiba Inu.
So how would they do that because from my understanding, it has a lot to do with like the back end stuff of the cryptocurrency, right? So if it's not set up to be a real cryptocurrency,
well, it's usable as a cryptocurrency,
yeah,
but it's set up to be very, very inexpensive. Right?
Okay.
It was set up to always be, you needed 1 million of them to have a penny or something to that
exactly.
effect.
But then like we saw with Dogecoin where it just got popular because of Elon Musk, then it's like, wow, this is worth 50 cents now. Are you kidding me?
And they want to do something similar with Shiba Inu. And in order to achieve that goal, they're doing what they're calling burning it, which is sending large amounts of Shiba Inu to just a dead-end address where it cannot ever be recovered.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
okay, yeah.
They're basically deleting it from the blockchain.
Yeah, to
and
make the value go up, yeah.
And they've done this with trillions because it's basic economics. The more of it there is, the less valuable each one there is. So this makes the circulation much lower. It's a really slow burn rate, all things. I mean, yes, they burned $50,000 worth of this stuff a few days ago, but there's like $500 million out there. So it's not very much that's actually getting burned. But, you could still take $100 and buy like 9 million Shiba Inu and just sit on it and see what happens over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
This is not financial advice, right? Shiba Inu could crash and burn. It's been around about as long as Dogecoin at this point, so it's probably not going to crash and burn. But Bitcoin could crash and burn as well.
Yeah, anything. The US dollar could crash and burn. Also, I just want to bring this up because this is funny. I don't know very much about it, but Matt was telling me this yesterday. The Hawk Tuah girl.
Oh, yeah, she got into crypto. And it did not end well.
So bizarre that this girl, like, had this weird, like, was supposed to be 15 minutes of fame and then, like, started a podcast. Like, some podcaster, what is it called? Like, producer must have contacted her and was like, hey, do you want to start a podcast? Now she has a podcast.
They always do that. The Cash Me Outside girl, she decided that she wanted...
Well, she's a rapper,
too. She wanted to spin it into a rap career.
Yeah.
And
some music producers like, yeah, girl, you got this.
The Supermam from GameStop a few years ago tried to do the same thing and release some sort of podcast or music album. These people, when they get their 15 minutes of fame, they're
like
unwilling to
ride
accept
that wave.
it. Yeah. And they're like, I want to make this. I want to be famous forever.
Which is fine, but you need to have something
go lay down.
You need to have something of legitimate value.
Yeah.
To like provide the world, right? Like you have to be really interesting. So the Hawk Tuah girl, I don't know, whatever. But the crypto thing
doesn't seem particularly interesting. I mean, she doesn't.
Honestly, if that was me, I just want to just really quickly. If that was me, I would be mortified that was like my claim to fame was. And of course, like there's nothing really wrong with what she said. It's just very embarrassing that that's the thing that everyone was talking about. And like, that's why she's famous.
Yeah.
And now, but it's kind of cool that she's like, whatever, I'll rep it. If everybody knows me as the Hawk Tuah girl, because that's what her podcast name is, like Talk Tuah or something.
Oh my God. Of course
but anyways, so the crypto, I don't know much about it, but apparently a bunch of people bought it because I guess a lot of people are following her now. I have no clue why, and then I guess I don't know if it was unclear whether it just, what happened exactly. I don't know if you know more about that, but it seemed like
there were very high fees and no one seemed to know where the money for the fees was going. and no one seemed to be able to actually withdraw their tokens. I think this was an ERC20 token, which like we could go and make an ERC20 token right now. It would take us a few minutes to do at the most, but we could also make a Bitcoin Cash token if we want to do that. So what the technology behind this is really simple and relatively user friendly. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just saw a few things here and there, but apparently it was just botched from the beginning because she doesn't understand anything about crypto.
But I would assume that it has honestly nothing to do with her and somebody else is doing that. Like, I assume she has nothing to do with this really, aside from being like the star poster child for or whatever. Like, it's my coin, and obviously somebody else is doing it. So apparently that person also didn't really know what they were doing, or they were using her to scam people, because I heard people lost millions of dollars.
I suspect it was that, because, I mean, she set herself up to be exploited. You're going into this extremely complicated space. Cryptocurrency is not overly simple. And if you want to develop and release a cryptocurrency token on the Ethereum blockchain, you need to know what the fuck it is that I just said.
Well, didn't this happen with Kim Kardashian too years ago? I think Kim Kardashian, or maybe it was NFTs or something. I know she got
fined by the SEC for promoting something.
Oh, she was promoting something. That's what it was. Yeah. So my point was, this isn't the first like kind of celebrity.
No, certainly not.
That has gotten involved in the cryptocurrency world. And I mean, even Kim Kardashian, she was just doing a promotional deal, like was just doing like a commercial, like celebrities do commercial, for like McDonald's or whatever. It doesn't mean they actually eat McDonald's. It just means that they got paid a lot of money to do this commercial, and it's kind of part of the industry. So, I mean, I don't really blame Kim Kardashian for not knowing anything. The Hawk Tuah girl, this is much worse because it was her coin.
She was allegedly directly involved.
Yeah, right? So a little bit different than just like doing a promo and it not ending well.
This sort of thing, it's relatively common though. It happened a lot during 2017. One of my social media networks recently reminded me that I used to run this website called cryptocurrencycheck.org. Because this was in 2016, 2017, during the height of the ICO craze. That's an initial coin offering. It's like, hey, give us a bunch of money, and 6 months from now, we'll give you a cryptocurrency, that kind of thing. And they were everywhere. And most of them were scams.
Mm-hmm. And I could see that, yeah.
It was just this craze where there was a lot of money to be made, and everyone wanted to get in on the next big thing that was going to make them a lot of money. And the vast majority of them were simply scams. And then the same sort of thing happened with NFTs a few years later. And if you watch the episodes of Free Talk Live, when we first discussed these things, every single fucking one of us was hard set against NFTs from the very beginning.
Yeah, and these are people, I mean, I don't understand crypto that much. I know enough to know. I knew enough to smell that bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah.
But especially when my friends who are more well-versed in these things are like, no.
I ran into a local restaurateur in Keene near the end of the NFT craziness, and I was like, hey, you guys, they were opening a new restaurant. I was like, hey, are you guys going to accept cryptocurrency at this new restaurant? And he was like, nah, man, but I tell you what we want to do is we want to make this NFT, and we want to sell that and make some money. I was like, dude, don't do that. Stay as far away from NFTs as you can, and just accept Bitcoin and Dash and Bitcoin Cash.
Isn't it completely different, though? Like, why would you even want an NFT? Like, accepting crypto as a business owner makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
Because you just accept crypto. It's pretty low risk. Like, you're not really investing any money. You're just investing services or time or whatever. But it's a really easy, simple way to get some crypto, and then you can just sit on it or do whatever you want with it. But I mean, trying to make that's a whole different animal. It's like, dude, just accept Bitcoin.
As I understand NFTs, it's basically like a intellectual property. It's a registration it's a title, basically. You own this thing, but it's registered on a blockchain. So it's immutable, it's indestructible, it's always there, but it's also irrelevant because we're talking about the ownership of digital content, and I can copy and paste.
Well, and also, so like, I'm not against doing titles and things like that on the blockchain. Like, if the title to your car was on the blockchain,
I think it'd be a huge improvement.
I think that's a great idea. Like, I don't have a problem with that, but your car, that's a tangible object.
Yes.
And all the title does is prove that you have ownership of it.
Right.
So it's
Which
just
is important.
So it's just like if you were to use a safe at a bank, and I'm going to keep all of my valuables, my titles, my expensive jewelry, whatever, like keep that sort of stuff. I mean, jewelry is a bad example because you couldn't hold that on the blockchain, but you know what I mean? Like titles, things like that could be stored on a blockchain, like just that information. That's very different than like, oh, you have ownership or partial ownership of this song or this piece of digital artwork. That's dumb.
I would love to see actual property ownership and titles, like for houses and cars, be put on the blockchain, because you could break into my house, find my car title, and steal my car and have legal ownership of it. But if that was registered on a blockchain, you can't just break in and steal my title. You can't just break in and steal my car that way.
I mean, I guess you could like kind of hack it.
There would probably
somehow
be some way of doing it, but it would still be possible, obviously. Theft is always going to be possible.
Yeah.
But I think it probably would be a little more secure, and it would give people a little more hurdles, a few more hurdles that they have to jump through. NFTs, on the other hand, as you point out, is just digital content. Some of these were rocks. And this was what, I believe, first brought it to my Ian's attention, as someone was buying digital rocks for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And it was literally 6 pixels. It was 2 by 3 pixels.
Are you kidding?
Yes. No, sorry, I'm not kidding.
You're serious,
sorry.
yeah.
Yes, I'm completely serious. And it was just 6 pixels. And it was like a green pixel, a white pixel, and a brown pixel, and like 2 brown pixels.
And they were calling them rocks?
Pixel. Yes. And it was an NFT rock. And it was for sale for like $30,000 or $40,000, and someone fucking bought it. Now look,
I'm just so confused. I'm still like, I can't get over 6 pixels.
If you've got billions of dollars in cryptocurrency and you want to buy something for $30,000, I get it.
I still don't get it. I'm still going to shame you for that.
Well, their perspective on what things are worth is just completely skewed, right?
Yeah.
To me, like, I'm not wealthy by any means, right? But I'm not going to, if I could buy some stupid painting for $1 from a kid at PorcFest, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's
But for
nice.
someone who only has $5 to their name, $1 is way too much to spend on some useless painting. And if you got billions of dollars, then $30,000 to $40,000 is probably nothing to you. But that's a whole ass Mazda Miata.
I get it. Like,
man.
especially if you think it's an investment or whatever. Like, oh, this is the new thing.
Of course, none of these were. I mean, the NFT thing, it crashed and burned, as we knew it was going to.
Yeah.
And it was a disgrace to watch.
I think for some people, it kind of like tainted crypto for them. They're like, because it was associated, right? So they're like, see, this is why I knew Bitcoin or whatever was a scam. And it's like, no. These are 2 completely different things.
Yep. And it created a lot of FOMO, a lot of FUD.
Yeah.
It was just a disaster. And the true crypto advocates, like myself, Ian Freeman, you, Matt, so many other people were like, no, stay away from NFTs. They're stupid. They're bad. And, some people listened. Some didn't. Some people are still not getting into cryptocurrency. I had a friend tell me a few weeks ago, my dad left me $2,000 and I bought a truck. I wish I bought Bitcoin instead. Well, fucking buy Bitcoin now, man.
Also, like, do you have $5? Do you have $10? It doesn't have to be $100 or $1,000 that you're using.
No. It
can
probably shouldn't be that much.
No, well, and that's for any investment or any, purchase or whatever, but especially like investments. And of course, this isn't financial advice, whatever. But I would usually recommend that people not invest more than they could lose. And I even say that about lending money to people. If I'm lending money to a friend, but I recognize that I'm taking a risk that I might never see that money back.
Right.
They might never pay me back.
Reality.
They might die, to take it to an extreme. So if I don't have $500 to lose, I'm not going to lend you $500. You know what I mean? It's just...
That's a good rule to live by.
And if I don't have $500 to lose, I'm not going to go buy $500 in Bitcoin right now, even though it's at, $90 something thousand dollars.
Right. And I think they believe that, oh yeah, but now if I buy it, I'm not going to make millions. No. I mean, the possibility of you taking $100 and putting it into some crypto and becoming a multimillionaire are extremely low. Most of those ships have sailed.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in on that sort of thing, you have to be on the cutting edge of the crypto space. And you have to constantly be doing research about new projects that are coming up, and you've got to be able to identify which ones are going to be successful. And that's almost no one.
Yeah, but and also what a strange mindset to have to be like, I don't want to get into something or invest in something unless I'm going to make thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. You know, I don't know how much. I've never done the math on my investments versus or money I put in versus what I got out of crypto. I kind of don't care. It just sits in my wallet. Whatever.
But even if you only make $1, that's still $1 that you did not have before.
Absolutely. And I don't really even have that much crypto, but it has gone significantly up since I have received it from wherever I got it, right?
It has
so
indeed.
I have definitely at least made some money. Again, I'm not really interested in taking it out or exchanging it for USD, so that doesn't even really matter to me. It's more just interesting, and I just let it sit there or use it, whatever.
You mentioned it makes sense as a business owner to accept Bitcoin, and I
think so.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to sort of support that. There's this automotive mechanic in Keene, New Hampshire, who for a very long time has accepted cryptocurrency as payment. It's Wilder Automotive for anyone curious. And I'm a longtime customer of his. I initially began going to him because he took Bitcoin, and I was in a place where I had more Bitcoin than I did money, or USD rather. So it was beneficial at that time in my life to go to someone who accepted Bitcoin as payment, or Bitcoin Cash in that particular case. And so I did. And so did Ian, and so did several others, simply because he accepted cryptocurrency as payment.
And there was a barber as well that I know dozens of people who literally were just going to him. Like, they don't care what barber they go to. They're guys. They're just getting a normal guy haircut. They could go to anybody, right? But they're going to this dude specifically because he accepts crypto, and they either have more crypto than USD, like you said, or they just want to support someone who is accepting crypto.
The story with Wilder gets a little crazier because I took my Eclipse to him recently, and I picked it up, and I asked him, do you still take cryptocurrency? Because I haven't been able to do that in like 3.5 years at this point, and I wasn't going to spend cryptocurrency then. I was just curious if he still took it. He was like, honestly, I don't even know where the tablet is for that anymore. I mean, I could probably dig it out if you want to do that. I was like, no, that's fine. I was just curious. And he was like, I haven't given that any thought in a few years.
Really? Well, you should think about it.
That's
It's
exactly
way up.
He was like, I haven't given it any thought. I haven't looked at it. I was like, really?
You should go check on the price of Bitcoin right now.
He said, yeah, I haven't given it any thought. I was like, you should open it up right now because Bitcoin just hit $100,000. He was like, what? Really? I was like, yeah.
That's so funny. So he's like so disconnected from the crypto world. Well, I'm sure a lot of people are, but.
And he's probably got enough Bitcoin after years of servicing my car and Ian's car and other crypto people's. He could probably straight fucking retire on the cryptocurrency that he's had and that's just been sitting there because he's been taking crypto for years. Back when Bitcoin was $4,000 or $5,000 per or even lower.
Yeah.
People were going to him and spending Dash and Bitcoin.
He's not the only one, right? There are quite a few business owners just in Keene, New Hampshire, who have very similar stories.
Yep.
Where they were accepting crypto when it was worth a lot less.
Yep.
Like $90,000 less. Just for, whatever they're selling, pizza, hamburgers, bubble gums, whatever it is that they're selling. But it's such an easy way. And it just feels so low risk in my opinion, especially if it's something, like if you're a convenience store and you're just selling cigarettes or whatever. Okay, instead of $10 in cash, I'm going to get $10 in Bitcoin. And it's, if it doesn't pan out and Bitcoin crashes and it turns out to be a scam or whatever, they don't really lose that much,
Well, if it's a small enough amount, it's manageable. But if you ran a convenience store and every single one of your customers was using Bitcoin,
yeah, but that's pretty unlikely, right? Most people are going to pay with USD of some sort.
But you would need that. You would need most people to pay in USD so that you could resupply and pay your taxes.
That's true, absolutely. But I think in most businesses and in most communities, like most of us who are business owners who are interacting with the public, the majority of people are going to want to pay in USD of some form. They're probably not even going to have enough crypto to pay for a lot of services,
Well, that's the economics of it. To go back to economics again real quickly, like you want to get rid of the worthless money, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to get rid of the currency that is going up in value.
Yeah, that's why I rarely spend my crypto. Right. I want to get rid of my USD.
If I have the option to spend dollars or Bitcoin, well, I know that a year from now, these dollars are going to be worth less than they are now. Like, I know that for a fact. That is a 100%. You can bet on it. It's going to be guaranteed. True fact that dollar is going to be worth less next year than it is right now. Or you could spend Bitcoin, which is up about 5 times versus what it was a year ago. Well, am I going to spend the one that could make me 5 times the amount of money by just having it? Or am I going to spend the one that is going to guaranteed lose me money by having it? And it's a no-brainer. Brainer. People want to spend the currency that's useless and that's losing value. And that's part of why the US dollar is designed that way. John Maynard Keynes had this idea that if the money was constantly getting less valuable, then people would be more inclined to spend it. And we would have this economy where money was just constantly being spent and transferred from one hand to another. And it would slowly filter its way up to the top because of this inflation of the people printing the money.
And then, so that didn't happen.
Well, it did. It worked out perfectly. Like, the people at the top kept getting richer, and we kept spending money that was constantly worth less and less.
Okay, I was misunderstanding what you're saying. I was backwards. Okay.
It worked beautifully. It made the banks so much richer. It made the politicians, the elites, the billionaires.
And it made everybody else poorer.
And we're just constantly getting poorer. The dollars that you have now buy, I think, 3% of what they bought in 1913, whereas the Bitcoin that you have now buys tens of thousands of times more than it bought in 2013.
So this is interesting. I've heard a lot of, especially like older boomer people say that, oh, well, it's relative, right? So, I was only making $1 an hour back then.
Yeah.
And now I'm maybe making $35 an hour or minimum wage in some states is $15 or $20 an hour. So they're like, yeah, things cost more, but I'm also making more money because they're like slowly raising the minimum wages. And, so to me, I mean, that obviously isn't how it's panning out, right? Because we're seeing that so many Americans are struggling.
Right, they
more
don't rise
than ever.
Proportionally.
More than ever, right? So, especially middle-class Americans, like I'm not talking about people who are on welfare and who are very poor. I'm talking about like normal, lower middle-class Americans. Groceries have never been more expensive. Clothing, like everything is so expensive. Rent is so expensive. Utilities so expensive. And people have never been struggling more. So clearly it's not all relative. Like even though these people might be making $30 an hour, $30 an hour isn't cutting it.
Nope.
Like they're going to have to be making $100 an hour. And that's just not really realistic in most fields.
It's not.
So, I mean...
And then once you start paying people, if you raise the minimum wage to $100 an hour, which is, what some of these crazy liberals want to do, then you have to increase the prices of the goods.
Absolutely.
Because you have to pay those people. Walmart has to pay their employees.
But for some reason, it's like, no, Walmart and McDonald's are just greedy corporations, and they can afford to pay their workers all this extra money. It's like, well, let's do some math. I mean, how many people does Walmart employ? You want Walmart to, even if they were doubling their each employee's income, Walmart would go out of business.
Yeah.
Even
people have done the math though. Like if this CEO split all of that $300 million across all his employees, it was like 13 cents per employee or something.
Yeah. What the hell are they going to do with that?
But
it's just, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just
it's the greedy corporations. And yeah, they are greedy. I'm not going to say they're not. Walmart, McDonald's, they're fucking evil. They're greedy.
But it's not like the solution. I think people are blinded by what the real problem is.
Yes.
The real problem isn't McDonald's. If you don't like McDonald's, stop eating at McDonald's. Don't work at McDonald's. Go work for a company who you feel is more ethical. But that's not why the dollar is worthless. That's not why Americans are struggling to buy groceries and clothe their children, you know?
Excellently said. No, the real reason for that is the inflation of the U.S. dollar that we've been seeing. You can look at the graphs online, inflation of the U.S. dollar since it was created in 1913. Because yes, in case you don't know the history, the U.S. dollar was created in 1913. And before that, it didn't exist. There were other forms of money, some of which were controlled by the government, some of which were not. But the money in the hands of the Federal Reserve Bank, which isn't actually part of the government, but I don't want to get into that right now. For all intents and purposes, it's government money right now.
Yeah.
It has lost more than 97% of its value. So if you were holding on to money from 1913, $1 million or whatever, that $1 million doesn't buy you even 10% today of what it would have bought you back then. And that's not because goods got more expensive. It's not because of greedy corporations. It's simply and easily because of the USD just being worth less.
Yeah.
And that's a complicated thing to understand because it's a unit of measurement. Like, what do you mean an inch is less now than it was 100 years ago? An inch is an inch is an inch. And these people think a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. But no, you have to measure these things in relative to other things.
Yeah, like buying power.
Exactly.
What does $20 get you? What did $20 used to get you in 1980? What did $20 used to get you in 1913?
Yep. And every 5 years, every year that goes by, that buying power goes down. The money is getting you less. And that's by design. That's not conspiracy. They designed it this way on purpose to encourage you to spend it rather than save it, because there's no point in saving currency that's going to lose value.
Yeah. Well, also, and then, you know, if we get deeper into it, most people can't save their money.
Also true. Yeah.
You know, well,
because we've been riding this ship of our money becoming worth less for so long that you just don't fucking have any left to save.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So many people are paycheck to paycheck, but also there's such this culture, especially in the United States, like very materialistic, like consumerism, whatever, where, people are unhappy. So then it's like, well, if you just buy this thing, if you just get a new car, if you just get a new TV, and then, it extends even to Christmas. Christmas is a great example where
I fucking
now
hate Christmas.
Children expect thousands of dollars of shit from their parents.
People take out loans for Christmas.
Yes,
I see people
rack up their credit card.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's also, I can get so deep into this, but there's so many reasons, like Santa and whatever, keeping up with the Joneses, and I don't want my kids to think that Santa doesn't love them, so I have to get them a gaming PC.
I don't want my kids to believe in Santa.
Exactly. And people say I'm crazy for not wanting to lie to my children about Santa. And
it's crazy to lie to your children.
I was actually just reminiscing with Captain about this because last year he made public service announcement that Santa wasn't real, and somebody called in and was so angry. And he said, "My grandchildren listen to this show."
Well, your grandchildren are about to learn something valuable.
Yeah, okay, first of all, we were just talking about drugs and prostitution. Why does anyone that still believe in Santa listening to this show? Not exactly age appropriate. And stop lying to your kids.
Yep.
They don't
view it as a lie for some reason, but it absolutely
is. And not only is it a lie, so many parents use it to blackmail their children. Oh, you're going to get coal for Christmas. It's so despicable and disgusting, and I refuse to have any part of it. And the other thing people say is oh, well, you're ruining their childhood. You're taking away the magic of Christmas.
No, lying to them is ruining their childhood.
Well, also, yeah,
learning that their parents will tell them lies is ruining their childhood.
That's how I felt when I found out pretty early. And yeah, I felt, first off, it kind of made me feel like an idiot because I was the youngest in my whole extended family. So I'm like, oh, you all have been lying to me. Like, you just think I'm an idiot, and you've all been playing this like prank on me for years. And then it also kind of taught me, because of course this isn't the only thing that parents lie to their kids about. It's like all of the holidays have their own like fake thing that parents lie to their kids about. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, there's so many other things that parents just lie to their kids about just to manipulate them.
Yeah,
basically.
We'll go to the beach next week.
Or whatever. Yeah, like there's so many things. And it really taught me that these people were dishonest and that I couldn't trust them. And that would break my heart if my children found that out about me, that I was lying to them and that I was dishonest, because I value truth and honesty so much. So I know I just went on a major tangent rant.
No, it's an important topic.
I just feel like there is so much real magic and joy in the world, and there's so much joy and magic that you can pull from Christmas and the holiday season and gathering with family. Like, there is already so much magic and joy there that you don't need to lie to your kids to try to create this magic, you know? So
beautifully said, Nikki.
There's my Christmas rant. 'Tis the season. Stop lying to your kids.
I think that's probably the best place to end it, because that rant was that was absolutely beautiful. Very, very well said.
Yeah.
You're absolutely. I've never really thought about it.
So many people are shaking their fist right now.
I always think about this in terms of like my dad. He told me once when I was younger, there was a time where you were so honest. If you had told me a spaceship had landed outside, I would have believed you. And like as a teenager, I remembered him saying that, and I thought about it. And he was like, his point was that at some point I started lying. And well, yeah.
Where did you learn that?
I learned that from you, man.
Yeah, like children are honest, and they are like, they start off pure.
Yeah.
And they learn all of this shit from society and from their parents.
It would have never occurred to me that I could express something that wasn't true until I learned it from him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, hey, he says stuff that's not true all the time.
That's not just like, oh, you're a cute little kid, how sweet. No, that's like being trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know?
So thanks for listening, and we'll be back, of course, next week. This episode is actually running a little bit late. It probably won't get posted until sometime tomorrow. Sorry about that. Not that there's really a tight time frame on that, but thank you. Again, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/LRNFM. And, you know, it is important, and I hate saying it, but like, share, and subscribe, because we are building this channel from basically zero at this point. So it would actually be tremendously helpful if you did leave a comment down there, letting us know your thoughts on lying to children, especially about Santa Claus, because I'm of the opinion that a lie is a lie is a lie. But maybe you disagree. Let us know in the comments. Like, share. God, I feel so dirty and sleazy saying this stuff, because I see all of these YouTubers saying this stuff, and I'm like, ugh.
But they say it because it works.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, and then click the bell so that you're notified when we post new content. Oh, I hate myself. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, that does it. I'm going to go hate myself now. Have a good day.